So my name is Robin Bennett. I'm one of the co-founders of the Dog Gurus. Susan's on the other side of the screen. Susan Briggs is the other co-founder. And in the middle is Joe Zuccarello from Paragon Pet School of grooming. And he is here to talk to us about finding some great staff, which I know that everybody's probably struggling with that issue right now throughout the pet industry, as well as other industries as well. But Joe has always got great ideas. For those that have not met him before, I'm going to let him introduce himself in a second, but we have worked with Joe for quite a long time, I think several years now. And I'm not exactly sure where
Yes.
we met because we just
You know,
kept
I was
running
thinking
into
about that the other day. I'm like, how did I meet it? Well, first off, listen, what an honor it is to be sandwiched between two gurus. I'm just saying. I feel like a dog guru Oreo cookie or
There you
something.
go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I can't remember.
I
I
don't
know that
remember why.
I'm sure. I know I've known both of you like before, maybe even gurus and different. I mean, it was before the dog gurus, but yeah, I don't know. It's destiny brought us
It's
together.
like
It is destiny.
traveling in those same circles, and your
That's probably what
paths
it
are
was.
destined to cross.
Yeah.
And I will say that for those of you that haven't followed Susan and I, you also know that we are very, very picky about who we work with. And we have that as a badge of honor, really, because we know that we want to take care of the folks that follow us and the members. We really, really, really care about your pet businesses and about your health and about your business ownership and the fact that we want you to be profitable. Like, we deeply care about the members that we serve, and we only will partner with people who have those same values. And when we met Joe is like everything that we stood for and that we represent and that we want to help our members with. He was already doing the same things for the grooming industry. And since neither Susan or I want to get into that industry, actually, Susan is a groomer. She did go to grooming school long enough to know she did not want to be a major do that as her main business. But we have
Exactly. I really respect groomers. Let me tell you, groomers and bathers are some of the hardest working personnel in the pet industry. I know.
Yeah, but Joe has so much insight and just has the same mission and values that we have over at the Dog Guru. So we started partnering with him, and we've learned a ton about just how to do better with your grooming business, and especially whether you're a groomer and that's your main business, or you have a pet boarding and daycare facility and you have either a bathing or a groomer on your staff. I can guarantee you Joe will help you. So with that, do you want to add anything else to that before we kick it off, Susan? I think we can start with letting Joe kind of give us a little bit of his background too.
Yep, let's get started.
All right. Well, I always want to make it all about our audience members and the people that are tuning in and giving us part of their day. So I'll make my introduction very brief. I've been in the pet industry. I look back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, really? I started my 36th year in the pet industry, not like last month. I was like,
you must have been 10 when you started, Joe.
Close, right? So no joke, it was kind of close to that. But I started as a young teenager, bathing dogs in a grooming facility. And I wasn't even driving yet. And the owner of the business would pick me up and take me to work on Saturdays and then bring me home. At the end of the day, she paid me cash. I made like $30 a day, regardless of however many hours it was. I guess now, that's sort of like hostage, employee hostage, right? But her husband was a former Marine, and I learned what clean was. I learned a lot of the fundamentals that I think a lot of our, when we talk about staff, and we're talking about finding new people to join our team, we have to also. Well, the reason I bring that up is because we have to remember something I think is very important. Not everybody had the fundamentals taught to them by somebody or some bodies who were influential in their growing up, right? So we have to, that's one part the reason I bring up my history a little bit. I learned what clean was. I learned what hard work was. I learned what getting dirty and being wet all day. I learned all of that as a young teen. And one thing I learned also, Susan, is once I started to kind of learn dog grooming, I learned I was terrible at dog grooming. Listen, dog grooming wasn't going to be my thing because these hands are not meant for that. And I think one of the things that we do wrong by our kids sometimes, and I think one thing that we do wrong in society is we tell our kids, well, you can be anything you want. No, you can't. You don't want me as your heart surgeon,
Yeah.
right? You don't want me, you don't want me fixing your car, right? I'm just not inclined that way, right? I do believe we come sort of pre-programmed with some gifts and some DNA and wiring that makes us, that I like to call our superpowers, right? So I think, by sharing a little bit of that experience with you, I learned just like you did. That wasn't my shtick. That wasn't my thing, right? But the industry of pet was, right? So management, leadership, growth, operations, systems, processes, all of those things were. So I could still contribute to the industry and still have a mad respect for everybody who has different superpowers in our industry, whether you're a dog trainer, whether you're a daycare technician, whether you are a dog groomer, right? All of us make up this really great, cool industry, right? One that is I've grown my family. I've got 2 adult sons now. I mean, this industry's provided for me, and I want to make sure that I'm doing my part now at the level where I'm at right now, that I'm doing my part to give back to the industry so that it can be as beneficial to others who sees this opportunity like I have been able to. So I appreciate Susan and Robin. I appreciate you allowing me to be a partner with you. I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to talk to the audience that pays very close attention to you. And I will tell you that when it comes to operations and onboarding and handling and all of those things, as much as you don't want to be part of grooming, but rely on me for that to kind of add to, add that to, as I'm more of a bolt-on partnership with what you do. Our group at Paragon has mad respect for what the dog gurus offer because of all of the onboarding. We can teach dog grooming, but when it comes to onboarding and safe handling and then expanding out into some other services that maybe a grooming salon hasn't expanded out to, like daycare or lodging or training, it's all about the dog gurus. So thank you guys for this incredibly strong partnership. So I don't have to hug you because you're hugging me on the screen. So that'd be awesome.
Well, we
But
appreciate that. Well,
yeah.
let me jump off with this, and I go back to what you said earlier, which was you love to give back, and I will fess that about probably 5 weeks ago, Joe was like, "I got some stuff I need to tell people." So, which is why we have him here today, because we know that all of you, well, I'll not necessarily say all of you, but many, many, many facilities are struggling with finding staff right now. That is the number one problem. Who would have thought we would have gone from a horrible last year of no clients to a worse this year of too many clients and we don't have enough staff? So one of the things that we wanted to have Joe talk about, and this is I think specific, you're going to talk, you have a background in history with grooming, but I think what you're going to be talking about in terms of how to find staff is probably applicable to anybody. So
Mhm.
how do you answer that question, Joe? How do you find your staff?
Well, I will tell you this, the rules are completely different than what they used to be.
Mhm.
It used to be that, we used to have staff members or potential employees, right? Um, Begging for a job, right? Hoping to get work. We would have lots of interest to a simple Indeed post, or before Indeed was Craigslist, before Craigslist was the newspaper, right? But I will tell you that in just the last 12 to 18 months, the rules have completely changed. And what I mean by that is they not only have changed for the potential employees, but the rules have changed for potential employers, right? So what I'm here to talk about is we have got to adapt. We have got to realize, first off, it's about embracing reality. You could wish something away, you could hope something away, you could do those are all fairy tales. What you have to do is embrace reality. And the reality of it is that you have got to compete, right? You are competing for employees in the marketplace, whereas before you didn't have to compete. In fact, the employees were competing for a job. It is completely opposite. Let me explain. We're really good when we're growing our businesses, right? When we're growing our businesses, we are very good at competing for customers, right? You want to bring your pet to our facility because we do this, or we do this better, or we have this kind of training, or we have this kind of environment for your pet. We have this kind of enclosure for your pet, this kind of experience for you and your pet, right? We're used to that. We're used to saying, bring your business to us, and spend your money here. Okay. But I think now, not I think, I know now we have to compete for employees because you can't walk 100 yards in any store setting, in any strip mall, in any mall, in any, any retail center or whatever, without seeing now hiring, now hiring, now hiring, now hiring. Listen, just like with selling your home, right now we're on a seller's market in real estate. If you were to put equate that the same thing for employees, right? We are in an employee market, not an employer market. That employee has lots of choices. I would almost say an unlimited number of choices. Okay. Not only with businesses that you might be competing against, but let's not forget about the government, right? Because some of these people are just as happy sitting at home collecting a check. Now, I'm not going to go getting all political, but that is one competitive landscape that we have to deal with. That's the reality, right? So we have to deal with that. So are you marketing your business to potential employees as well, or even now better than you're marketing your business to potential customers, right? Are you building an environment that employees want to work at, that they want to be at, that they want to be in the group setting, in that culture of your place of employment? See, maybe back when the three of us were younger, right, when we were learning our work ethic and our abilities and such, it was put your nose down and get to work and do a really great job. But now, the group of people that we're looking for the entry level positions, and here's it, they didn't evaporate off this planet, folks. They're still there. They're just not with you. So there's still 20 somethings out there, right? They're not gone. They haven't like all went to Antarctica to live, right? They're all still, they're out there. They're just not with you. And why not? Because I don't think we're doing a really great job of, one, actually creating a place where people want to work. And two, if we do have a place that people want to work, marketing it that way.
So Joe, what would you say is your feel for what type of environment do people want to work in today?
Well, that's a really great question. I've been doing a lot of research, and I'm not a big fan of like grouping people together in like generation this, generation that, millennials this, millennials that, right? But let's just talk about ages. I mean, predominantly our entry level ages that most of us in the pet care industry are looking for. Now, I've seen some as young as 14 or 15 years old working, right? So I know that, right? But let's just say on average, 16 to 25-year-old individuals. Okay. Again, they're out there, right? Somebody 16 to 25 years ago didn't stop having kids, right? So they're out there. Okay. But what kind of an environment? Listen, this group of people, they're social. This is how they communicate with one another right here. I've witnessed people sitting in the same room, in the same table, texting each other. I mean, they're like right here, right? But this is how they socialize, right? So what we
Wait,
have
I just have to say, when my son was in high school, he and his friends would come over to our house. They would literally not just bring their phones, they would literally bring computers and sit at the desk and play a game with each other, everyone on their own computers in the kitchen.
right.
Like literally, they would just.
So if we watch, I'm a big fan of going to the zoo and watching animals in their own, in as close to their own habitat as possible, right? Or when we're going on vacation, right? I love watching people in their own habitat. Sometimes we're trying to create a habitat that they don't thrive in. So for this 16 to say 25-year-old environment, I think we need to be more social, right? I would bet most people do not create an environment where these people can be social. That's what they're looking for. What kind of friends am I going to make at work? What am I going to be able to do at work to be, to spend time with people that are like me, that are about my same age, that look like me, right? Those are the type of environments, these younger people, do they appreciate or take an hour lunch, right? That used to be valuable to some people, right? But it might not be valuable to this group anymore. They like to graze, right? They like to be able to put in, I've seen people put in snack stations, like places where people can pick up a snack and eat it on the way. Or do we have to change our rule? Well, wait a minute. I'm sure people just lost their minds. Well, they can't eat on the job. They can't. Well, listen, if you don't have people, you have no worries about them eating on the job, right?
Well,
We got to challenge the way that we have always established not only our facilities, but also our decisions and operations I'm not saying throw safety to the wind or get reckless. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what these people want to do, they want to make friends. They want to be in a social environment at work. That's number one. Number one. They want to have fun, right? They want to have fun at work. And let's face it, scoop and poop, hosing out dog runs, cleaning kennels isn't always fun. But I will tell you something. I had some of my best laughs, some of my best fun when I was doing some of the nastiest jobs in our industry possible, because the environment that was created and people that were there, I enjoyed being around, and we all made the best of the worst. Okay. So, so anyway, challenge everything. If this isn't the environment, do some research. Where do young people want to work now? They want to work somewhere that's techie.
Well, and I know it's very controversial to allow staff to have their phones with them when they work. And I think we may need some flexibility around that as well, because as you said, that's how they're used to communicating. So when you say they can't have their phone, it's almost like taking a limb away from them. But so how can you balance being able to have that and getting the work done? I think it's important to consider that.
Yeah. I mean, look at airports, right? I just happened to be at an airport yesterday afternoon, and I waited for somebody to arrive, and we were in a cell phone lot. I mean, first off, in the old days when you waited for somebody to arrive, you got to wait at the gate, right? Well, those rules changed. So then they had you wait in the concourse, right? Like before security. Well, then crowds got too big there. So now they say, wait in a cell phone lot and then pull up, but you can't park any longer, right? So everybody changes the rules, right? So to your point, is there a designated cell phone use area where maybe they can go? Let's get creative, right? Let's just think outside the box. Who knows? Maybe you'll come up with the next idea that helps everybody else. But one area that I know that we're gravely short on is we're gravely short on technology, using technology to run our operations, right? That's how individuals work. If you think you're going to here's another, so gravely short on technology, but part of that is in just the way that you onboard people, in the way that you train people. If you're handing somebody a book that they have to study and that they have to read and that they have to memorize operations and that they have to do the checklists, right? I can tell you there's probably going to be a great amount of failure in that, because people do not consume their education any longer, right? And I don't want to generalize, but I'm just saying, I know this age group because I watched them. I'm a great purveyor of people, right? They are better through observational learning and use of technology, watching others do it, and then having the ability to watch a video. Listen, kids sit around, that age group sits around now and they watch TikTok all day long on their days off. And they're learning.
They also watch full-length movies. They watch 4-length movies on their like on, you know, when I fly and I'm like using my iPad or computer, because I'm like, who would watch a movie on your iPhone? There's a ton of that age group that will. So I definitely think this is an area, there's a lot of opportunity for improvement for how we're working with our employees to, and Amber actually wrote in here, let me see if I can share this. She said one of the things that they do at their office is they play music and ask their teams what they want to listen to, which I think is great, because this just happened to me. I had some friends, actually some of the folks from Blue Nine were at my house last week or 2 weeks ago. Anyway, we were cooking dinner one night, and Jamie, who's younger than me, said, hey, can we play some music while we're cooking dinner? I'm like, sure, because I'm cool and I have a sound system in my house. So that was like plus. Well, of course, she goes, do you have Spotify? No. But I do have Pandora. So that was at least a little better. But anyway, then she told me to put on a playlist that of a person I had never heard of before. And I actually liked the music. But my point being, when I was at my facility, I played whatever I liked. Probably my staff, in hindsight, didn't like that. And you've heard us talk before. One of the number one benefits that Starbucks offers is a Spotify premium account to their employees. Like, music is hugely important to them. And those playlists are really important, and what they're listening to is really important. So there's a lot of ways you can look at that technology and figure out ways you can change things for them.
Yeah.
We did have somebody did ask, let me find it real quick. What about retirees or the older population that also want to join the pet industry? And I think the principle is finding out what they would like.
Yeah, and I will tell you, you're going to have a challenge, right? You're going to have a challenge because you are going to have generation gap. You're going to have the folks that think they know more than the others, and that goes both ways because the younger people are going to think they know more about what to do than the older people, and older people are going to think that they know more than the younger people. So you're going to have a little bit of a challenge, right? But as long as I'm a big fan of defining expectations early, clear and early expectations. So when you come in and listen, we've got all kinds of generations here. So listen, if you're a younger person, you got to talk to Bob. Bob is like super wise on this, that, or the other. And Bob, we've got some younger people here that I think that you'd really benefit by, and you got to talk to whatever, or maybe even give Bob the opportunity to say, listen, would you mind being a coach? Would you mind being a mentor? Would you mind, using some of the life experience? Because one thing that is absolutely for certain is that young people don't have the life experience. They just don't. Obviously, because they haven't been around long enough. They haven't been on a planet long enough, right? So I think that sometimes what we need to do is we need to focus on what everybody can bring to the table. And again, how do they consume their education? They don't consume their education by reading books or manuals or even checklists, right? They consume it by way of digital. So if you're not moving toward a digital onboarding, a digital platform, a digital method of conveying information and training to your new employees, you probably need to, right? Another way to use technology to your benefit, I would bet if we polled the mob, right? We polled the mob. We ask anybody who's watching this live or on a replay or whatever, how many of you have a dedicated careers page on your website? I would bet it's less than 10%. I never would have thought about doing that. But if you are a person that's looking for a job, okay, I can guarantee you they're going to go to your website. They want to see what kind of place and who are they going to be working with. Do you have real pictures, not using models, right? But real pictures of real staff enjoying themselves, having fun, actually representing what kind of environment that this person's going to get into. If you're creating something false, like one of those false postcard moments, right? You pull up to the resort and it doesn't look anything like the postcard, right? Okay. You can't expect that you're going to keep those people very long. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a dedicated careers page, where do you think they're going to find out information about you? They're going to go look at reviews. They're going to go look at, they're going to look at a variety of different places. And do the young people look at that? You bet you they do, because that's important to them. Okay. Again,
yeah, and I think especially
how do they buy you as an employee? How do they buy you as an employee or as an employer, that is, like you would have your customers want to buy you for a pet care service provider?
Yeah, and I think especially today, they will look up. They are researching you just like you should research them when they apply for a job. But they're going on your social media. They're going on your Instagram. They're going to see what's out there. Especially all the time they're searching whatever your business is and reviews. They'll look at your reviews and they're going to find, comments that your employees are maybe making about you or your clients, obviously, but you want to help them to have a place where they can go and learn some of that too. Hopefully showing the fun and showing the excitement that your team has.
Well, and
I did
another way of using technology, is you've got to adapt to a shorter interval of time from interest to hire. You've got to get them hired faster than what you ever had before, because if you don't, somebody else is scooping them up. Have you had an increasing number of people not show up? If that's happening to you, they've been hired before you hired them, right? So if you are, listen, this is the way I used to do it, right? I used to get an interest, like a resume or an email or whatever, and then I would look over it, I'd ponder over for a day or two, and then I would put a stack aside, and then I would call and then play phone tag, and then finally get a hold of somebody, talk to them on the phone, and then I might have them in for a face-to-face interview. And then I would sit back and decide, okay, who am I going to pick out of the face-to-face ones to maybe have in as a working interview? And then I'm going to pick out of the working interviews who I'm going to actually hire. If that's what you're still doing, you're going to lose more than not, right? You've got to take from interest to hire in less than a week.
And I think you also have to communicate with them in the methods they like, which for a lot of them, it's texting. Versus phone calls or email. They may not even hardly ever open. So I think understanding how they want to communicate and showing that flexibility is important.
Well, and instead of doing a phone call, let's talk about how do we take that process from interest to hire in a week. Now, hiring on a spot is one thing, and I saw somebody say, I hire on a spot. That's okay. I don't know that I would always hire on a spot. I mean, it's good. I do like a couple things. I like open interview days where it's sort of like an invite. You put a sign in the front lawn, right? Open interviews every Saturday from X time to X time or whatever, right? So you're inviting those people just happenstance to drive past, right? That might be thinking about another job, or somebody's friend or family member who might be looking for a job. I like using open interview times, right? But I also like saying, instead of that phone interview, why not just hop on a quick Zoom? Go into every Zoom with maybe 2 questions that are the most important 2 questions that you want to ask. I'm talking like 10 minutes. It's a short, quick, down and dirty Zoom. It's like speed dating for employment, right? But use Zoom to not only see the person, hear the person, see what kind of effort they made to even, I don't care if they're sitting in front of a blank wall, but if they're sitting in front of a disheveled bed with, a pile of laundry and, tipped over empty, whiskey bottles on a shelf behind them, right? I'm sure I'm using an extreme case to make an example, but my point is, what kind of effort did they put into how they dress, how they convey themselves, what's in their background? And you can go right, that is your phone and your face-to-face all in one in 10 minutes. And nobody had to leave their building. Nobody had to leave their facility to do that.
So I'm going to jump back to Rebecca, as you can't see the whole question or the whole comment, but she was talking more about the younger age group that we were talking about. And she said, not only that, but we want to feel, so she's obviously in that category. We want to feel like we're making a difference. We want to be heard and acknowledged. I'm a young supervisor at a long-lasting dog daycare, and I'm the bridge between the older managers and the younger workers, which is often a gap we need to work to close, which you had mentioned as well. And I think that's true too. I think gone are the days where you're just going to expect the employee to do it, whatever it is. You show up on time, be responsible, do their job, not question what I'm telling them to do. Like all those things that I do feel like my generation grew up just doing that. Well, let's be honest. My dad was a Marine. I was a Marine. I'm really good with just doing what I'm told, but that doesn't really work today. I mean, they do. And I think that's probably good. They do want to know why they're doing what they're doing is important. They want to know that they are tied to a bigger vision than just cleaning up something that's spilled on the floor or cleaning up poop or whatever. So just having them understand what the difference is that they're making. And I think that's really important for today's managers and leaders to understand.
Well, and if you want, there's going to be a lot of little golden nuggets in this session, right? But if you want one golden nugget that I've learned, especially most recently in leadership and management skills and the relationship and trying to get the best performance out of everybody, one is clear and early expectations that do not matter on age or any other type of personality, right? We're charged with taking care of the pets. We're in the peace of mind business, so we've got to make sure that we're always maintaining our integrity. But I will tell you, if you can always start a conversation when you're going to be offering instruction or direction to a staff member, if you can start with the word because. It's not go do this because I said so. That's not the right because. What I'm saying is because somebody might slip and hurt themselves, we have to sweep up after every dog after grooming. You see what I did there? So I'm still giving direction, but I'm starting off with the because, which to your point, Robin, answers the question, why? Why do I need to do that? People are consuming education, copious amounts of education on here. They're challenging everything because they can call, their BS meter is going to go like this real quick, right? Because they can look that up and see what's the real story, what's Google say, so we just want to say to them, because ... I need you to do ... right? And you're tying it in that way. So learn to use the word because. I think that's going to be very important and very helpful to you.
So let's talk about what characteristics would you be looking for and how do you ask interview questions to find those characteristics when you're looking for a new employee? What would you say for that?
And again, I think this kind of spans the pet services industry completely, right? Not with not a ton of specificity yet to grooming, but where do we find potential candidates, right? So potential candidates for our industry, they exist in a lot of different areas, right? I would start with 4-H clubs, horsemanship clubs, scouting groups, Those are some areas where people, I mean, think about these 4-H kids or future farmers of America, right? Some of these people they've been around large animal, right? They've been around large animals with a lot more poo and pee and hair and stink and all dirt and everything else than dogs and cats that they're going to deal with, right? So that's an area where if you can't wait, again, change the rules. You got to go find these people. You got to go hunting for these. You got to go recruiting. I've often said it's like a seafood restaurant in Florida. The fish are not going to jump into your restaurant. Okay. You got to go fishing, right? You got to bring them in. So if you're not a regular, if you don't know the heads of these groups in your area by first name and they know you, then you're not familiar enough to them. Okay. Same thing goes for high school guidance counselors, community college advisors, university advisors. These people, they should know who you are and what jobs you have available. And especially as it comes to grooming, that's a career, right? Grooming is a trade. Grooming isn't just a job. We offer a lot of jobs in our industry, right? Daycare technician, boarding technician, those types of things. And sometimes people do really, really well and climb the ladder. But grooming is one of those skilled labor trades, just like electrician or plumber or carpenter, that sort of thing. So that's a legitimate trade. But if you're not familiar with these people and they're familiar with you by first name, these influencers, these people that can funnel, that 18-year-old high school graduate that college is just not for him or her or them, right? Their guidance counselor says, hey, have you ever thought about a career in pet? Maybe you want to talk to my friends over at blah, blah, blah. Right? You're at XYZ, lodging, XYZ pet lodge, right? So that's where sometimes we can find them, right? So again, Future Farmers of America, 4-H clubs, anything horsemanship. Ooh, absolutely. Scouting, talk to VOTEC programs, talk to veterinarians, not veterinarians, but veterinary staff, right? Because they're the ones that really plugged into their customers, right? Okay. They're the ones that have enough time to usually have a little bit more of a relationship. But what characteristics? The characteristics are, we're looking for problem-solving skills, right? And how do we uncover that during an interview? We might ask questions like, give me an example when, or tell me a story about when, or what you want somebody you're sitting in front of in an interview to do is that you should be able to close your eyes, and the amount of information that they provide you should almost be able to see it as if you were there. So ask questions so that you get that clarity. Don't make the mistake, fill in the gaps and wish something into somebody that they're not, right? Just ask better questions, right? So I like that. Give me an example when. Tell me about a situation when. So when it's problem solving, tell me about a time when you were faced with a challenge and you and only you had to come up with a solution. What was it? What did you do? How did you come up with a solution? And what was the result? Now, some of us are like, whew, if I was asked a question, how am I going to answer a question? Well, right? Maybe it allows us to sort of kind of go deep into the trenches of our brain and pull out a memory, right? Okay. But problem solving, team, what is their, a lot of us make the mistake. Are you a team player? Well, what are they going to say? No, I'm an isolist, jerk that likes to spend most of my time in the bathroom. Well, of course they're going to say, yes, I'm a team player, but we want to know what kind of team player. So tell me about a time when you were part of a group or a team. What was that group or team? What was your role? What role did you play? And what were some of the successes and what were some of the failures of the team? And then I have an offshoot, right, of, well, when you failed, what did you do to overcome the failure? Or here's one better. What if one of your team members wasn't doing exactly what they were supposed to, or upholding or pulling their weight on the team? What happened? Now they might say, well, maybe I was that person. I don't think they're ever going to admit that, but, right? If they can't recognize somebody else for doing it, it probably was them, right? If you don't know who your crazy uncle is in your family, you're probably the crazy uncle.
Exactly.
So those are just some questions, but again, tie it back to instances. Again, ask any question you want to ask, but be able to close your eyes and almost put yourself there. And if it's still unclear, a little blurry, ask another question so that you're sort of tuning it in and getting it clearer, that story. Okay.
I love
Plus,
that.
it means you're taking a vested interest in what they have to tell you.
Exactly. We had a couple now hang on, my computer's working slow, but we had another comment. First of all, just a shout out to Joe, because Karen said, "You are so passionate and smart. The bestest like living live thinking out of the box and keeping up with changes to society." And I think really that's what this is all about. And I think for the thing that I think most of us sometimes forget is that we're all entrepreneurs. Though those of you that are listening that own your own business who sometimes get stuck in, I don't know, I can't do this, I can't, hire differently, I can't ask different questions. Like, you're an entrepreneur, you totally can. You thought outside the box when you opened your own
Mhm.
business. So this is just another area where like some forward thinking needs to happen, because clearly what has been working is not working now. Someone also, Leslie asked, can you talk more about digital onboarding? So
Yeah.
we
So,
obviously have
obviously
input on that.
obviously the dog
Talk
gurus have,
about that as well.
oh, am I still here? Did I freeze?
Yeah, you're there. No, you're there.
Okay. Okay. Obviously, the dog gurus have lots of solutions for getting up to speed digitally and consuming information digitally. What I mean is something as simple as, and again, I would never take any products or any systems away from dog gurus, but if it's something that, even as something as simple as changing the mop water, right? If that's something that you want to film with your camera that takes 30 seconds, you want to film it. See, there you go. It's like stereo. Nobody says that anymore. If you want to shoot a video, right? Apparently nobody says stereo anymore. I just learned that last night. So I won't tell you how. So it was embarrassing. But anyway, shoot a video, right, of that process and then store that away on your computer so that when you're onboarding people, right, they can learn how to do that. Try to write that, right? You've always heard a picture is worth 1,000 words. What's a video worth? 1,000,000 words? I don't know, whatever the number of words are. But and then let's say if one day you change and video everything, commit to video everything. If you could shoot one video a day, five days a week. I'm sorry, 5 videos a day, 5 days a week. Okay, you'd have 25 videos. Let's say it's only one a day, and it's 5 videos per week. Okay, do you know in 5 videos per week you'd have, what is that number? 5 times 52, is that 260 videos at the end of the year?
Yeah.
But if I told you go 260 videos, you would think that was an overwhelming challenge. But now, if you just do one per day, right? What's really great is if you organize them correctly, when you change vendors or you change product that you're going to use in that mop bucket, well, then you just go remove that video and you insert the new one.
Yep.
Okay.
And Leslie put exactly like TikTok, which was going to be my argument to when people go, "Oh, I can't possibly do all those videos." I'm telling you right now, there's a whole entire generation on TikTok doing that every single day, multiple times. So, and I mean, all the videos that Susan and I do, almost all of them are being done on our iPhones. And I'm actually have even been pushed farther because I'm working with another company where they wanted some 15-second, sound bites. And I was like, there's no way I can like answer a question in 15 seconds. Guess what? Totally possible. And it kind of frees me up to say like, wow, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Just turn on the camera, record how to change the mop bucket or how to fill a cleaning bottle with a certain type of solution, or how, steps to doing a bath. The shorter, the better, frankly, because people are more inclined to watch them if they're shorter.
Well, and then when they don't do it right, you sit them down in front of it and say, "This is what it's supposed to be. You know what you're doing. Here's what you're supposed to do. Do you get it? Oh yeah, I get it." And then they don't do it again. And you're like, well, I mean, that's obviously they're either purposely not doing it or they just can't consume education. So
Right.
And you don't have to do them all yourself. Get your team involved because they're good at this. They do TikTok videos all the time. You just have to make sure the ones that are doing the sessions right. But I think it's a great team building and giving them more responsibility and feeling like they're part of the group and mission and achieving.
I agree completely. Divide and conquer. And they're going to feel rewarded. They're going to feel recognized. Remember we just talked about being part of a techie environment where they have fun? Give each one, okay, you're going to shoot these videos. You're going to shoot these videos. Who's going to do what, right? And give them some direction, right? And expect that the boundaries that come back are going to be way wrong and not what you, but that's part of growing people, right? So take what they have and say, okay, you see how the background over here has like, this happening, you got to be conscious of the background. So next time, go out and give me a redo of this and make sure that the background doesn't have this in it, right? Who knows what that might be.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other, obviously, the Dog Guru has created an entire onboarding process called Pet Guru College, which we won't go into it here, but if you're interested in that, and it is a product that is designed to onboard your employees, and it is a digital product, so you can sit them down and let them do it, which saves your staff time because now they're able to watch the videos that we did. We intentionally, when we designed that, we intentionally used 3 different types of videos. There's the talking head video, there's kind of a demo video, and then there's sort of a cartoony type of video, because we wanted to break that up and make it a little bit more interesting to the viewer. But we also invested in a professional learning management system, which allows a person to do that online or on their phone, because the LMS comes on an app as well. So those kinds of
And they
things,
have
I
to
do
answer
think,
questions about that too, right? So it's sort of a read it, watch it, do it, right?
exactly.
So
And then, yeah,
yeah,
there's a
that's
little
Yes.
brilliant.
exam at the end of each one, so that it's designed to get your employees up and running as quickly as possible. You still obviously need your own training for your own individual SOPs, like based on what you clean, what you're cleaning, what cleaning solutions you're using, and all that kind of stuff. But that's another opportunity as well. So we're kind of running low on time, which this always happens when we
Yeah,
talk
can
to
we
Joe.
share that page, Robin? Do you mind if we pull up
Yeah,
that
that's what I was
you
gonna
mind if
yeah,
we
that's
pull up?
actually what I
Yeah.
was gonna tell you, is if you wanna, talk about, there are some resources that Joe has available, so I'm just going to, share this other page, and then I'll probably hide, Susan for a second, and maybe myself, depending on how this ends up working.
Yeah,
Uh,
so can you guys see it
well,
okay?
hang on, I'm hiding people.
Oh,
I'm gonna hide myself too.
okay. I guess just let me know if you guys can see this okay. I've got it on my screen. Okay. So I'm going to assume that everybody can see that. I can't hear Robin or Susan. Okay. So we're going to assume that everybody can see this. This is, and there will be a link that Robin's going to provide everybody, but this is what the team at Paragon have developed to help you who are employers or hiring managers out there do a better job of not only finding the right people, but in your job postings, whether it's on social media, Indeed, wherever. But this page will continue to grow over time. One of the things that we're going to be adding, I hope within the next week or so, is a sample career page for your website, something you can use as a springboard to make your own and build into your website as well, since we already talked about that. But you can see here, there's just a variety, and we're not going to drill into each one of these because we're going to be limited on time. But if you find that you might be interviewing an existing groomer, right, you can go to this page, and there are groomer interview questions that you can download from here. There are sample job descriptions. So when you're looking for, these are some of the things that you can put in your own job description, some of the elements that are very important. But let's just say for groom techs, for example, these are the people that hopefully become tomorrow's groomers. But if you're looking for these folks to go through level 1 at Paragon called Groom Tech, not only do we have a Groom Tech job posting description, but we also have a general job posting description. But when you go into this, if you go, this will open up, fill in the blank, just replace all of the blue areas with your information, right? Your company logo and such. So, this is very, very helpful if you don't have a job description for this position yet. The job posting description, if you go into here, you could copy and paste all of this verbiage into an Indeed ad or into your web page or your social media or wherever you want to put it. But you could see here, are you in a job that you hate and want to do something you love? See, this is not the traditional help wanted ad. Okay. We're trying to help qualify, is this the kind of person that we're looking for, by asking the person reading this, does this sound like you? And again, this is more targeted to, the on-the-job training through the Paragon School of Pet Grooming. But again, copy and paste whatever you want to out of here. I don't care if one line is helpful for you. It's still going to save you a lot of time. There are blogs like Staffing to Scale Your Business, Business During the Pandemic, and such. So there's lots of different things. Here's a real helpful one, right? Paying groomers what is fair. But one of the areas that I want to call your attention to before we hop off of this is sample social media recruiting. So you can see how these are links, right? So you could just pull any of these up if you're looking, let's say, for a pet groomer, right? And like this one is a Facebook. Their Instagram is here because they're different sizes and such. But it tells you a little about Instagram stories. Here are other things you can do on Instagram, right? And just you can put your logo in here. These are templates that drive through Canva. So just lots and lots of information. I know I'm flying through this, but I know you guys are going to have plenty of time to look at this yourself. But there are two other areas I want to call your attention to is creating a culture employees don't want to leave. That's a real important resource. And also Recruiting Future Groomers Guide, which is another PDF download. So just come back often, come back often to this particular resource because I think that you'll be impressed by how much it will continue to grow. So I know that, oh, there's Robin. Okay, so we can kind of come off of that. But anyway, I hope you guys find that very helpful. And again, Robin, I see just shared that resource as well.
Yeah, I did share that. That's a great resource. And we have heard of several people having success with ads on social media and recruiting from social media. Again, because that's probably where your desired client, in this case, the employee, is going to be found. So definitely something to take a look at. And the one thing I will caution, because I've seen a lot of threads lately on various groups that I'm in where people are like, who's tried this? Oh, I tried it. It didn't work. I would just caution you to say, what did they try exactly? Like before you discount that the one person that jumps on a list and said, I tried Indeed, it didn't work. I tried Craigslist, it didn't work. I tried social, whatever, name the thing that didn't work. Find out what they did on it first, because to Joe's point, they may have had a crappy ad and that's why it didn't work, not because the medium you're promoting on didn't work. So really make sure you're comparing apples to oranges when you're looking at that kind of a
in some markets, you could put the same ads out in two different markets, and Facebook does incredibly well here, but in that same message on Facebook in another market bombs, and they're still in Craigslist land. I don't know, but I mean, listen, what do you have to lose?
Right.
Just put the right stuff out and try to put as many lines in the water as you possibly can, right? But that is you putting it out there hoping to catch a fish. You got to go find them. So you've got to, again, reminding you, just be in touch with these people on that Future Groomers Recruiting Guidelines. There's a reminder on that PDF on the employee resources page of all of those places where I'm recommending. Plus there's a couple of others of where you go fishing for your future team members.
Yeah, that's awesome. Any last things you want to add, Susan, before we jump off?
No, I think the thing is to really promote what's great about your business and what you do for the candidate versus what the candidate can do for you. This is, Joe said, this is a candidate market, so you have to say how you're going to help them meet their goals and develop skills and knowledge that they can use lifelong.
Well, yeah, and if I can add real quick to that, it's also this may expose some weaknesses in your ability to be an employment opportunity for people to thrive in. You might discover that you have to fix some things. You've got to make some things better. You've got to improve the culture. You have to be willing to do that. You have to be forward thinking on that. And because if you don't, you're going to keep getting the same results. You're going to have people there that are barely there or even not even starting. So it's time to change. You just have to adapt.
Yeah, and I don't think this staffing issue that we're facing right now, that's really a crisis for many industries, including the pet industry. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. I think there has been a permanent shift in how to go back to Joe's terms earlier, is how you're competing for those entry-level employees, or really for any employees in your business right now. So we really appreciate Joe's time here. I think all the stuff he's talked about really is for anybody you're hiring. I think it applies across the board, but especially for groomers, and a lot of the resources on the page that Joe showed are going to help you with your grooming. We do strongly recommend growing your own groomers. and using Paragon School of Pet Grooming is the #1 best resource to do that. If you've got people and you find that, hey, I hired this person, they've got some skills and aptitude, let's invest and send them to school. I would definitely send them to Paragon. And if you have questions about hiring or how to pay them, or that whole, like, is it commission or is it based on what they bring in? Like the questions we get all the time, definitely check out that resource. But also Joe is happy to help with that kind of information as well through his own consulting. So Joe, we appreciate you being here as always. We always love talking to you.